Hello, sixth grade, and welcome back to Math Online. Today, lesson 77, finding the percent of a number. You oftentimes go, I got this grade and it's 23 out of 52 or whatever, and what percent is that? All right, well, that's one use of what we're going to learn today. All right. So you'll see questions like, what percent of 40 is 25? And yeah, hopefully this looks familiar to you because we've talked about using proportions to solve these part and whole relationships. We're going to use the same proportion, except now instead of fractions equals is over of, we're going to use P for percent. Equals is, the clue word in one of these questions, or the part that we're interested in, over of, the clue word that goes with the whole amount. So if we say what percent is 40, or of 40, is 25, we can use this idea. And P, a percent, remember, is just a fraction. It's just the percentage, except the denominator is always the same for a percent. It's always some percentage over 100. And so we're going to take advantage of this P over 100 equals is over of. And so we look at, all right, what percent we don't know. That's going to be P. All right. Of 40, that's the whole thing. It goes on the bottom. Is 25, that goes on the top. And so we solve this proportion, 100 times 25, divided by 40, and we get the percent. All right. So we see this, we've set up the proportion, 25 times 100, all right, 2,500, divided by 40, gives us 2,500 divided by 40, 62 with 20 left over, 62 and 1/2 on top of 100, right, which is 62.5%. And again, we got to ask ourselves, does that make sense? Well, 20 out of 40 would be 50%, right? Half. 25 out of 40 should be more than 50%, and it is. So we take advantage of this idea of percentage over 100 equals is over of, the part on top of the whole thing. And this should look familiar to you because we've done this part over a whole with a fraction, and now we're just doing it again with a percent. Same type of deal. All right. You'll see things like 75% of what number is 60. All right. So we're going to use this proportion here. P over 100 equals is over of. In this case, it's got a percent sign, so we know the percent. 75% equals of what number is 60. Is goes with 60, so that's going to go on the top. Of what number, the whole thing, we don't know. That goes on the bottom. So we do 100 times 60, 6,000, will equal the cross product, n times 75, or 60 times 100 divided by 75, 6,000 divided by 75 is exactly 80. And then we ask ourselves, does that make sense? 75% of 80 is 60. Well, 60 is more than half of 80. So, 60 is more than half of 80, and 75% is more than half. So, yeah, that does make sense. All right. Just little things like that can help you catch mistakes. So take the time to do them. Here's another form you'll see this problem. 50 is what percent of 40? Now, that may sound confusing, but the way you do it doesn't change. Is what percent? We don't know, so that's n over 100. 50 says 50 goes on top. Of 40 means 40 goes on the bottom. In other words, now we're talking about an amount that is more than the whole thing, which is okay. You can do that. We do 100 times 50 divided by 40, and you get an answer that is more than 100%. 5,000 divided by 40, 500 divided by 4 is a 125, 125%. Which makes sense because, look, the top number here is bigger than the bottom number there, so the top number here better be bigger than the bottom number there. Let's try another one. All right, 6 is 150% of what number? You get the idea that they're giving you 3 things to deal with, except one of them is missing? You got 3 out of 4 things here. One of them is missing, and you use your skills at solving proportions to find the missing number. So we got 6 is, so that's going to go on top of the fraction here. 150%, that's a dead giveaway that you got 150 over 100 here. Of what number, we don't know, that's n. 6 times 100 divided by 150, all right, gives us an answer. And before even doing that, I should know that the top number here is bigger than the bottom number here. So this answer n better be less than 6. All right, and that's all there is to it. Fill in the blanks, figure out what is, what is of, what is percent, and you should have no problem doing lesson 77, A through F. See you later.